Hello, this is Dr. Velma Love at Howard University School of Divinity. I am the project director for Equipping the Saints, Promising Practices in Black Congregational Life. This project has been funded by the Lilly Endowment, and we have a team of researchers who are going into Black congregations and finding out what they have to say about practices that are contributing to holistic health and well-being for members of the congregations and for the communities. We have researchers working in 5 geographical areas, including Atlanta, Georgia, Washington, D.C., Detroit, Michigan, and Macon County, Alabama, as well as we have one team that's working nationally. Each team of researchers will be focusing on a particular topic. So today I am happy to talk with Dr. Haroldine Trulear, who is our lead researcher for Detroit, Michigan. Dr. Trulear is an associate professor of practical theology here at Howard University, and he is going to tell us about his research there and some of his findings. They are focusing on youth and family services. So welcome, Dr. Trulear.
Thank you, Dr. Love.
And let's just start with you telling us a bit about what's going on with your research in Detroit.
In Detroit, we are focusing on 4 congregations, small to mid-sized churches, that are working with families under the difficulties of the economy, with a declining educational system and declining enrollment in public schools, and with a fairly high crime rate. We're looking at how these congregations are working to keep youth out of the criminal justice system, bringing young men and young women as well home from prison and helping them to reintegrate into society, as well as how the economy is impacting family life.
So what can you tell us then about the implications for other congregations across the country?
Well, one of the things we're trying to do in Detroit is to look not so much at large churches that have social service delivery systems in place through a community development corporation or through professional social workers, but what kinds of practices are embedded within the regular warp and woof of the congregation's life, counseling within the congregation, putting people together, older and mature families, discipling and mentoring younger families. We want to identify, and we are identifying, practices that are accessible to a congregation irrespective of the size, irrespective of their capacity, irrespective of their resources. We don't want to box them into the kinds of specialized programs that require a level of capacity that's beyond most congregations in America.
So I know that there's a conference coming up in October, and there will be a congregational resource guide distributed at that conference. Have you identified any particular themes that you will highlight in your section of the resource guide?
Yes, we're going to be focusing on empowering families in the midst of unemployment, in the midst of urban decline. One of the sound bites that we found in one of the Pittsburgh newspapers to discuss how difficult things have become in inner city Detroit is that the land use is such that there is so much vacant property in Detroit that you could fit the city of Charlotte, North Carolina into it. We really want to see how and identify at the conference and in our resource guide and all of our literature what kinds of things can be done under such economic duress.
And I also imagine that members of the Academy will be excited about your work. How do you see this kind of research impacting theological education?
Well, one of the things that we need in theological education is more research-based practice. We need research that goes beyond models from large churches, that goes beyond the effective practices of congregations with great capacity. We need more research in the academy and to use for our teaching as professors that's based on the kinds of congregations that our graduates and even our current students are more likely to be serving early in their post-seminary career.
So, Dr. Trulear, can you tell us or share with us one of the inspiring moments that you found out there in the field?
We have one of our congregations is probably one of maybe 2 buildings left on its block in Detroit. And probably half of the members of the congregation are actually squatters in some of the vacant properties that are in the neighborhood. The pastor, we discovered, was somewhat frustrated by the fact that his church hasn't really grown that much, that what actually happens is that people come to his church when they have no hope, they have nowhere to go, they don't have a permanent address, and he works with them, the church works with them and gets them back on their feet, gets them back into the job market, helps the family stay together. And he was frustrated because he said, and then once they get themselves on their feet, they feel like they're too good for my church, and they go to a more traditional kind of congregation. And as we talked with him, a light went on for him. And maybe this is my ministry. Maybe my ministry is getting people back on their feet and helping them to reintegrate and moving on to another church where they can be leaders. I wish they would stay here, he said, but I guess that's my niche, that's my role. And when that light came on for him in the midst of our conversation, we felt like we were engaged in a kind of active research where we're discovering practices, but we're also empowering congregations. And that's what makes this project special for myself and others, in that it's not just objective research and documentation. We're really trying to advance the field in the field and not so much in the literature.
Thank you so much. This is really exciting work, advancing the field, in the field. We look forward to hearing more. We're going to wrap up right now and tell our viewing audience, if you would like to hear more about equipping the saints and the Detroit project, as well as our other research sites, please contact us at Howard University School of Divinity or visit our website at www.divinity.howard.edu. Thank you.